Morning and concerned about safety.
We're owed about $3,500. It's a big chunk of change.
Contract warning. A Vancouver cafe owner says his Uber Eats delivery fees jumped with no notice.
Definitely shocked me that she took the bear on.
And scared of a goat, but not bothered by a bear. Meet a BC pig who runs a tight pen. Good evening, I'm Dan Burritt. Thanks for joining us. Many people in BC's Sikh community are mourning a Surrey leader shot dead outside his Gurdwara on Sunday. Police are busy trying to find whoever killed him. And as our Premji reports, some are concerned for their own safety.
We are Sikh and we are proud.
Lessons 12-year-old Reet Gill says she learned from Hardeep Singh Nijjar before he died.
He helped our community rise.
He did a lot for the community.
Nijjar was shot dead in a car in the parking lot of the Guru Nanak Gurdwara in Surrey Sunday night.
We lost a gem of our community.
A close associate of his, Gurpatwan Singh Pannu, told the Canadian press Nijjar received threats because of his support for a separate Sikh state in India called Kalistan. CBC has reached out to Pannu but has not been able to independently verify this. Many Sikhs have long advocated for the establishment of Kalistan, saying Sikhs face discrimination and oppression in Hindu-majority India. Indian authorities deny those allegations. In 2016, CBC News reported that the government of India was seeking Nijjar's extradition from Canada on charges related to extremism. Nijjar maintained his innocence at the time. In a meeting Monday, those supporting Nijjar and Kalistan expressed a fear for their own safety.
It was made clear that the CSIS have spoken to several community figures and Sikh activists here in Canada about an ongoing threat that is posed to their lives. So the nervousness comes with that.
CBC reached out to the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, or CSIS. It said it can't publicly discuss its sources and methods and declined to answer questions about the killing, but confirmed the ongoing police investigation by the RCMP.
We've lived in this country now for a century now. There needs to be action taken to protect the Canadian Sikh communities. Simple as that.
And he fears if there isn't visible action from RCMP,
we don't want to see any more Hardeep Singh Nijjar situations.
The province says in a statement law enforcement has its full support and it will work to bring those responsible to justice. Zara Premji, CBC News, Surrey.
Now, after Nijjar's killing, much of the local Sikh community's discussion has centered around their own safety concerns, especially for those who openly support the idea of Kalistan. Earlier today, CBC News spoke with Satwinder Bains, the director of the South Asian Studies Institute at the University of the Fraser Valley, to better understand why it's such an important issue for some within the community.
It's nothing new per se to the diaspora or to Indian politics or Canadian politics, but being played out on foreign land instead of in the homeland that people are fighting for, it does create some sort of tension in terms of your affiliations to what is the politics of your province. So I think there are people on both sides. There are people in the middle. There are people who are hoping to have better discourse, who want to have dialogue, others who are fearful, others who don't want to discuss this, people who vilify as well as embrace the cause. So, there's so many opinions to this issue. And today, we may be at a point, perhaps, as you suggest, in this trajectory, this moment of reckoning, a moment to sit down and discuss this with all parties so that we can come to some sort of resolution.
We have an update for you on the massive and increasingly desperate search for 5 people lost deep under the Atlantic Ocean. Earlier tonight, the U.S. Coast Guard tweeted that a Canadian aircraft detected underwater noises in the search area. They moved some equipment to try to find the source of those noises, but haven't found anything yet. The submersible is somewhere 600 kilometers off the coast of Newfoundland with 5 people on board. Kayla Hounsell has the latest.
These are the last known images of Titan, taken as it was launching Sunday morning, now lost in the North Atlantic with 5 people on board.
In the dark, they're shivering cold, and they are having to control their breathing to breathe as little as possible, to rest.
But no one knows where they are. They were headed for the Titanic wreck, 685 kilometers south of St. John's. An extensive and complex search has been underway since the Titan lost all communication with the ship that launched it.
Today, those search efforts have not yielded any results.
More aircraft, U.S. and Canadian, are arriving in St. John's to help, but they're searching for a capsule just 7 meters long and under 3 meters high, around the size of a minivan, and possibly 4,000 meters below the surface.
If you were to find the submersible at this moment, would that give you enough time to save these 5 people on board?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question. What I will tell you is we will do everything in our power to effect a rescue.
The Titan set out with an estimated 96 hours of air. As of mid-afternoon, there were around 40 hours left. CBS correspondent David Pogue made the same voyage last year, among those bolted inside the Titan from the outside.
You do sign quite a waiver. It is paragraph after paragraph, literally outlining all the ways that you could die.
Hi, my name is Stockton Rush. I'm the CEO and founder of OceanGate.
The sub's owner is among those lost at sea. In a breach of contract lawsuit, the company's former director of marine operations claimed he was fired after raising concerns about the sub's safety. Rush previously said passengers knew the risks. Also on board this time, British billionaire Hamish Harding, French explorer Paul-Henri Nargeolet, and Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood and his son.
At this point, families need to prepare themselves for bad news.
Kayla Hounsell reporting tonight. Back in this province, the trial of a man accused of killing a Burnaby teenager continued today with testimony from a police lab worker. It's the first time someone from the RCMP confirmed DNA was recovered from the girl's body. John Hernandez has more from the first-degree murder trial of Ibrahim Ali and a warning some viewers may find details disturbing.
The picture of how DNA evidence will factor into the Crown's case against Ibrahim Ali is getting clearer. Today, the second forensic witness continued his testimony in Vancouver, discussing physical evidence obtained from the young girl who was found dead in Burnaby Central Park in 2017. Jeremy Fenn, a search technologist at the RCMP's forensic lab, told the jury he received several body swabs taken from the 13-year-old victim just days after her body was discovered. Fenn testified the samples were kept secure and that the lab equipment was decontaminated before he analyzed them. He said he found sperm cells in 2 of the samples, which he then sent in for further DNA analysis. He said he analyzed more samples related to the case in 2021 with similar findings. The discovery aligns with previous testimony from the pathologist who performed the autopsy on the victim. Crown prosecutors say the 13-year-old girl was walking through the park 6 years ago when she was attacked and dragged into the woods before she was sexually assaulted and strangled to death. Ali is charged with first-degree murder. He has pled not guilty. A sample of Ali's DNA was also sent to that police lab. The jury has yet to hear how police actually came into possession of Ali's DNA and if it was a match. Crown prosecutors say they intend to show DNA evidence that will connect Ali to the crime scene. The defense will have its first chance to cross-examine a DNA witness tomorrow. John Hernandez, CBC News, Vancouver.
A Vancouver cafe owner is warning other restaurants to check their contracts with Uber Eats after he says his delivery fees jumped 10% with no warning. Uber Eats argues it is complying with provincial law, but as Michelle Gassoub reports, the cafe is still hungry for answers.
It was thanks to a missed sandwich order on an Uber Eats bill that Sergio Salamonovitz noticed something was off. He logged into his account and discovered delivery fees had spiked, seemingly overnight.
That the commission that we had been charged prior was 19%, and now we were being charged 29%, which obviously sounded the alarm bells.
At the height of the pandemic, BC capped what delivery apps could legally charge at 20%, a move they made permanent at the end of last year. When Salamonovitz contacted Uber for help, they wrote back that the marketplace fee cap has been removed since February 2023 and that he couldn't escalate his complaint any further.
We're owed about $3,500. It's a big chunk of change.
After CBC asked Uber about the case, Uber Eats apologized to Salomonovitz, but pointed out it is allowed to charge restaurants more than 20% for premium services. It said it emailed restaurants in January, notifying them they'd have to opt out of increased fees or they'd automatically revert to their pricier pre-pandemic plans. But Salomonovitz says he never received an email from Uber.
And there was no communication from them that they were changing the percentage. If they had sent something, maybe I would have picked it up, but there was no communication.
Salomonovitz is now warning others to double-check what they're paying and says many small businesses may assume they're protected from fee hikes.
Please check. Please look at your statements. They send them to us every week. Go into the dashboard. See what percentage you're paying.
The cafe has since canceled its Uber account and hopes more customers will choose to shop in-store. Michelle Gassoub, CBC News, Vancouver.
The debate over policing in Surrey continues to grind on. Yesterday, the city sent its report on the future of policing to the province, along with a so-called non-disclosure agreement, after a closed-door meeting and vote. Also yesterday, as we told you, Surrey's mayor accused BC Solicitor General of bullying and misogyny in the ongoing issue. Now experts warn the secrecy surrounding the process may be hurting public opinion.
The public is already, I think, struggling to keep up with the latest dramatic events, and it really has become quite a melodrama. And unlike partisan politics, which are kind of driven along kind of ideological lines, this one seems to have become kind of more personal in terms of the allegations and about character and integrity and those kinds of things. And I think that's just dismaying for the public.
Meanwhile, Surrey raised the pride flag at City Hall for the very first time today. The city says it's a reminder to work together to create equality and inclusion in their community. Officials are also lighting up the Civic Plaza in rainbow colors till the end of the month. Mayor Locke says the flag sends a clear message that all are welcome in the city. It was raised ahead of the city's annual Pride Festival this weekend. People living in the Fraser Valley can expect new funding to help prevent flood damage. The province is earmarking $20 million to support flood resiliency projects. The fund will be accessible to farming groups, First Nations, and local governments. Some of the projects include culvert improvements, embankment stabilization, and crop diversification. The 2021 Sumas Prairie flood is estimated to be the most expensive natural disaster in our province's history.
There is still a lot of important work that needs to be done to ensure that our farmers, growers, and producers are protected against future floods and disasters, and that our provincial food security system stays strong and secure, which is why we are grateful to the province of BC for this critical $20 million investment in increasing agricultural food resiliency across our community. Access to this
the City of Abbotsford is hosting public information sessions this week to update people on its long-term strategy. The number of active wildfires in this province is shrinking. On Monday, there were 80 wildfires burning across BC. It's now down to 65. There are 2 wildfires of note. Both are in the Prince George Fire Centre. The West Kiskatnaw River wildfire has grown to 25 square kilometres. And the Donny Creek blaze is now the largest wildfire in BC's recorded history. It's burning more than 5,500 square kilometres. That's almost twice the size of Metro Vancouver. And Environment Canada is warning there could be more extreme weather this summer because higher than normal temperatures are expected until at least the end of August. The weather agency released its seasonal outlook today, saying the above normal temperatures started the fire season early and the lack of rain fueled it. Meteorologists say climate models indicate Canada is warming at roughly double the global rate, especially in the north.
There were heat waves in BC and Alberta in May, based on the standard definitions of these things. And yes, we're working on this, but yes, we expect that, preliminary results indicate that human-induced climate change increased the risk of these heat waves.
The agency is urging Canadians to monitor weather forecasts regularly, take all alerts seriously, and to have an emergency plan just in case. There was an unlikely animal face-off on Vancouver Island this week. The winner might surprise you. Take a look. The pig on the right is named Barbecue, standing face-to-face with, yes, a bear that had broken into the animal pun. But Barbecue stood her ground and charged at the bear, forcing it back. Nicely done. Barbecue's owner says it looks like she was protecting the other animals in the pen that were huddled against the fence line.
It very much surprised me. We have a goat named Gus, and she's terrified of the goat, which is probably a tenth of the size of the bear. So it definitely shocked me that she took the bear on.
The bear stayed in the animal pen for about half an hour before finally leaving. Fortunately, none of the animals were hurt. Barbecue is being rewarded with plenty of belly rubs. Good piggy. Well, it's a big birthday for BC Place today. The landmark turns 40 years young. And here's what it looked like when it first opened. Gotta have the synthesizer in there. BC Place opened its doors June 19th, 1983. Oh, lots of fun. Built ahead of Expo 86, and it remains Western Canada's largest multi-purpose event venue. It's hosted live sports, of course, with the BC Lions and the Vancouver Whitecaps, along with packed concerts for music legends David Bowie and Elton John, and the opening and closing ceremonies for the 2010 Winter and Paralympic Winter Games. All eyes will be on BC Place again, soon as Vancouver is a host city of the 2026 Men's World Cup.
We need it desperately now. War survival's at stake. It's bad here, economically very bad.
Going straight to the top, business leaders in Point Roberts, Washington asked their commander-in-chief for help to get more workers for the summer season. That story's next. Thanks for watching our commercial-free live stream tonight. On Vancouver Island, a popular annual tradition is the car show in Qualicum Beach, which took place this past weekend. It's about flashy rides, but at the heart of it is tens of thousands of dollars raised for local charities. Have a look.
They all do it for the love. They love to show their cars, and they support us by coming out. How much better can it get? Most of the guys that have these cars are fathers, but they're gray-haired fathers, meaning grandfathers, and this is part of our youth. And everybody that has a car here, there's some cars that are absolutely ugly. But when you look at them and you see the workmanship and the artistry and the love that goes into them, there's nothing ugly here. They're all beautiful. It's connection, nostalgic connection to the youth of the people that own the cars. And we're very proud of what we do, and we love showing the cars. We are a registered charity. We do this to raise money for the local charities. We all, Father's Day is a big event, and to be able to have these people represented at Father's Day when wives and the fathers come out with their children, and sometimes the grandfathers and their kids and their grandkids come out. It's just a wonderful thing. It just makes all the people want to come out and see the cars. These local charities do need our assistance. So everything we do has a view to how can we help the local communities. And we're very proud of what we do, and we love showing the cars, and we love bringing it to the community. I think it's an awesome thing we do.
The small American community of Point Roberts is hoping Canadians could be the answer to its staffing woes. The border town sits just south of Tawasin, cut off from the U.S. mainland. It's still recovering economically amid the pandemic and border closures, but can't find enough workers. The local Chamber of Commerce president says he's written to President Joe Biden asking lawmakers to make an exception to American work permit rules. Brian Calder says Canadians used to work there but were stopped by Homeland Security after 9/11. They want to be able to hire Canadians again with work visas.
Historically, we've gone from our 1,000, 1,200 people, resident citizens, permanent, to 5,000 in our summer season. And so that's that's like 4 times your existing population to accommodate who are coming down, boating, water, sport, recreation, and so forth. And so we have a big surge need for employees. And prior to, like in 2018 and 19, many of them lived here and didn't have to commute from Blaine or Bellingham. That stopped because of the lockdown. They had to find work. There was no work here, so they moved over to what we call the mainland USA, Bellingham, Blaine, Ferndale, Linden. And they stayed there, and they're staying there now. So now that we have had from 0 to 50% of where we should be, but even so, with 50%, we could use 60 people today. If we get our crowd back like we would normally get and go from 70,000 a month to 140,000 a month where we should be, we'll need 200 people. And we don't have them, and we're not getting them. And this action was done many years ago, prior to 9/11. When Homeland Security was created, they terminated it arbitrarily, no consultation, and we didn't feel it immediately. So because we had enough employees and enough people living here. Now we really feel it. And it worked fine before. It was straightforward, simple. There were no hiccups at the border or miscreants coming in. It worked great. So bring it back.
There was sunset this evening over Victoria Harbour, courtesy of our partners at Czech News. Hello, summer. That's what it is. Johanna will tell us all about it next.
How far away have you had to park?
Oh, just a couple blocks, not very far at all.
Is it jammed up downtown right now, or it doesn't seem to be that much traffic?
No, it wasn't too bad at all.
You think most people got here early?
I think so, yeah.
Take advantage of it. Yeah, take a look around. Okay, thank you.
The traffic problems just weren't there going in. Many people didn't seem to mind the long walk, including the hike across the Cambie Street Bridge. And once inside, the long walk was largely forgotten. It was the walk coming out that caused the only real snarl-ups last night. What you're seeing is Cambie Street, just before 10 o'clock. The crowd is beginning to spill out onto the street. 10 minutes later now, police have squeezed the traffic flow to 2 lanes from 4, giving pedestrians a bigger place to walk. But it's not enough. The 2 lanes for cars suddenly become no lanes. Traffic halts, and the human flood rolls on. But here's a look 15 minutes later. It's 10:30 now. The pedestrians are gone, and so are most of the cars. Not a huge problem for a first test, but Vancouver police don't like to be caught with a situation they can't control. So this morning they met with the city engineers department, and they have some recommendations for council.
That's right. The bridge will be closed off for, we hope, not more than 20 minutes, not much more than 20 minutes.
You think the bridge closure is probably the solution for that kind of a crowd?
Well, we feel if we don't close it off, that it'll be closed off anyway. They'll just flood it and close it off on us. We'd rather have an organized closure than what we had last night.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and here's what's in your CBC Vancouver inbox.
CBC Vancouver is the premier media partner of the 2023 Surrey Fusion Festival, July 22nd and 23rd. Visit the festive cultural pavilions, enjoy free live music and family activities. And the 13th annual Indian Summer Festival takes place July 6th to the 16th. The festival's powerful 10-event lineup speaks to the theme of interdependence. Tickets at indiansummerfest.ca.
The weather update is brought to you by Direct Buy Furnace, installing the most reliable heating and cooling brand. It's hard to stop a train.
Time for our BC-wide weather forecast with meteorologist Johanna Wagstaff. Joe, settle a bet. Tomorrow, solstice or equinox?
Solstice. It's the summer solstice and
Our
the fall.
director owes me $3.
That was it. You should have gone big.
I forgot.
Zeros on there.
I hedged my bet.
Good call. Yeah, the equinoxes are the sort of buffer seasons because you can kind of think of it as equal day and equal night. But summer, longest day of the year coming up as the sun's rays make the transfer to the northern hemisphere. And it is going to start to feel like summer across the province. We've been in a bit of a January pause. Take a look at the low pressure system that's brought in those cooler temperatures and swirling showers. Now, this has been good news for this province, obviously bringing some heavy rain east of the Rockies, but this has significantly lowered our fire danger rating for the temporary anyway, and seeing those showers and cooler temperatures show up right across the southern half of the province. As we take you through the next couple of days, looking to see a few more rounds of showers. It might equal 10 to 20 millimeters through the interior, getting some more good rain up towards the northeast, but a ridge of high pressure is building in, and we're going to start to see those temperatures warm up towards the end of the week. We're below seasonal tomorrow, back up to seasonal by Thursday, Friday. By the end of the weekend, we'll be starting to hit those 30-degree temperatures inland, and for Metro Vancouver, feeling like the high 20s. And today, also an update from Environment and Climate Change Canada on our summer outlook. You can see all of that red, high confidence for almost all Canadians. And we're looking at a hot and dry summer ahead, a continuation of our spring. Seeing a few showers and mid-teen temperatures showing up tomorrow in your provincial forecast, but that's it. Once we hit the weekend, most of BC, Dan, looks very much like this, warm and dry. So we'll take the last remaining showers tomorrow morning before we flip the switch again.
Very good advice. Thank you, Joe. Happy summer.
You're welcome. Happy summer. Solstice.
That's your late news for Tuesday. Thank you for joining us tonight. For news anytime, check our website, cbc.ca/BC. Your next local news is on the early edition on CBC Radio 1. That starts tomorrow morning at 5:30. Have a good night.